So in the last day or so, we've actually seen a good bit of canceled projects in the COD franchise surface. The biggest of that being from NX1, the codenamed game for what was Call of Duty Future Warfare, something that was actually being developed in place of Ghosts. Then Ghost came along, and then seemingly it may have returned a bit with Infinite Warfare later on down the line. But we also ended up seeing some stuff about some cut gameplay from Black Ops 4 and stuff. Now, I'll leave the links down there in the description below if you guys are interested in seeing that, but unfortunately, that kind of stuff we can't showcase here on the channel because it's just a legal and copyright nightmare. But in the meantime of thinking about things that got canceled and projects we've never seen fully out in a playable build, to this day, the one that I'm still, I think, the most bummed by is not an official project, but one that was a small group of developers trying to make our dream Call of Duty game. SM2 or SM2. It's not only what was meant to be a faithful remaster, but also at the same time a reimagination of the Call of Duty experience, taking the COD Online all-in-one approach and format and bringing it to all players, for players, by the players. Today, I want to take a little bit of time and look back on something that we can legally post and showcase, as well as what could have been. So drop your thoughts, drop a like, and subscribe for more COD content. If you're at all interested, and make sure to check out the Twitch streams as we get back into those again, linked down below. But for now, let's take a look at what could have been maybe the perfect game that we were robbed of. So for those that may be new to the channel or haven't heard too much about this, what was SM2 or SM2? This game was perhaps the closest thing that COD fans would see by comparison to something like COD Online from the Asian markets a few years back, and it was a compilation of all the best parts, all in one game. Built from the 2009 engine, the Modern Warfare 2, yes, original engine there with that. It was easy to consider outdated, but there was a few positives with that. It allowed a relatively small game size, and with the tech not being nearly as intensive as games in the last decade, you'd be able to play it on anything. An old desktop, laptop, or mega computer with like a 4090 or something like that. Everyone would kind of have access to this. Now, in recent times before the project got shut down, they did shift over to the Modern Warfare Remastered engine, which kind of took a hit to the development where they had to basically port everything over to an entirely different engine, but the entire time during development, they wanted to create this project that would be accessible to as many players as possible. But the craziest part about the entire project was when you dive deeper, it was just crafted by a small team of enthusiast devs. People from the community that just wanted to create something cool. So let's dive deeper into their vision. When you talked about playable aspects of the game, one of the big things obviously with Call of Duty, and probably the first thing you may think of, is weaponry. There was a ton of weapons, over 100 plus, that they were working on for the launch of the game. Now, not going into every single one of them, but you had things like the ACR, the AN94, Ball 27, Commando, Galil, Honey Badger, Maddox RFB, FAL, M1 Garand, the AK-74U, the ASM-1, the MP40, MP5, MP7, MSMC, P90, UMP45, PPSH, Peacemaker, Barrett 50 Cal, DSR 50, M40, PTRS, and so many that if you think of an iconic weapon from the Call of Duty franchise, it was probably going to be in this game. Again, a lot of these really weren't from Modern Warfare 2, so with a small team creating animations, working out proper modeling, and so on, that takes a ton of time. And when they announced this a while ago that they wanted to launch with 100 plus weapons, it was mind-blowing back then, but when you saw the actual gradual progression and work of it as they gave updates, it was even more impressive. The game was going to have its own progression system, something that would actually incentivize you to play the game. You'd unlock things. It'd have its own XP and in-game currency system, though in-game currency like the old Black Ops COD points, not something that is tethered to real money. And not only did you have a singular soldier rank that you could end up going through with all kinds of different prestiges, but you also had weapon ranks where every single weapon would have 10 ranks that you could unlock attachments for as you went along, allowing for 2 attachments and a camo slot for each to be utilized. Camos were also a thing here through challenges. Completing all the challenges for a weapon and reaching max level 10 would unlock gold camo, and if you did that for every weapon class, you'd unlock chrome for those weapons. A dark matter equivalent wasn't ever laid out, but it wouldn't have surprised me if they were working on that at the time of, again, when they got shut down. Perks, equipment, and point streaks were all going to be here, following the same sort of unlock path, but you'd also have additional things you could earn like melee weapons, emblems, calling cards, signature weapons, camos, reticles, and player models throughout the in-game store. Again, things that you actually earned in-game in terms of credits to go for unlocking, kind of like most recently probably the Prestige shop, though not tied just to Prestige. Any of those things that you ended up unlocking in that regard were not reset during the Prestige mode when you started over again, and those, again, credits were strictly in-game currency, not transferable or anything that was altered by real-life currency. As for maps, we never really got a huge gauge on how many there were actually going to be anticipating to put in, but they were going to be across COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and even COD COD Online, plus a few Black Ops 1 and 2 maps that were specifically made for the version as well. They showcased some gameplay of those sort of things, but again, the totality of it all really didn't ever come into picture because we just never saw the grand scheme because it just got shut down. Party modes and wager matches were a thing. There was even going to be its own anti-cheat on a community-driven project, which was crazy. On top of all that, they had a ping feature designating targets, danger, objectives, and more that was being designed. 24 perks, some new, some old. They've redesigned menus and HUDs. They had Modern Warfare 3's point streak system along with all 3 strike chains, outfitted even with some new streaks that they made. There were party systems that included their own independent voice chats and the ability to join servers. They had custom lobby invite codes, something that was only ever implemented into Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. So 20 years into a game's life cycle, and SM2 or SM2 almost had them beat on that. They had Modern Warfare 2's removed clan tag support. That was something that was going to be back there as well. They even had their own sort of gauntlet where you could run through the accuracy and target practice with each rounds like you'd see, again, as one of those sort of staples for speed runs that were in the past in COD. They built out their own one for that even. So they covered just about every base. And honestly, I think this would have been one of the coolest things in terms of not only just fan-made projects, but maybe like in the FPS genre. It's classic COD, but brand new. So whatever happened to this? Because it sounds perfect, right? Or at least for us players. Well, the problem is it was maybe too perfect because there's never been an official reason given, though many believe it's around the maybe removal of requirements in the FAQ to own Modern Warfare 2 and after the engine shift, Modern Warfare Remastered, which led to legal troubles as it sounded as if it was encouraging pirating of the games. Many believe that it was a maybe threat to Activision, giving players exactly what they wanted and for free. But truly, I don't think we'll ever get an actual reason. But the story did indeed end with a cease and desist this past May, where it was announced a team member received a cease and desist letter on behalf of Activision Publishing in relation to the SM2 project. We are complying with this order and shutting down all operations permanently. Thank you all for the support over the past 2 years. And just like that, the perhaps perfect Call of Duty game could never be worked on again. What we saw at that point was truly the end of the road. They were not legally allowed to post anymore in terms of developmental progress or even work on the developmental progress. It was just to be shut down entirely. So we never got that perfect Call of Duty game. Maybe Modern Warfare 3 made some strides for or against what you think is a good game in terms of the Call of Duty franchise. But to me, I think that when you look at the what ifs of the Call of Duty franchise, a community-made, fan-made project like this was probably atop that list for me. Top 3 in terms of what ifs. Could it have done real damage to the franchise? Could it have really stolen away a ton of players? Could it be something that could have thrived? We really have no idea. But for 2 years, players really looked forward to this project, and just unfortunately is one of those things that's lost to the test of time now. That's not to say there aren't still other additional sort of modded clients out there for COD. One that we might go and jump into recently is one that's pretty cool. That is a multiplayer mod for Modern Warfare Remastered, kind of doing the same thing that SM2 did, but not to the scale and degree of it, but it is still something that it would be a lot of fun, I think, to play around with. So we might cover that here in a future video if you guys are at all interested, but just kind of wanted to take a look back and stroll down memory lane because, man, it was fun thinking about the what if of SM2. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you guys enjoy retrospective look backs and stuff like this? Do you wish that SM2 or SM2 would have actually been a thing? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, Call of Duty, X-Defiant, anything FPS related. We got you covered here on the channel. I'd love to have you. But for now, thanks so much for watching. I'm Was SM2. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.